The Star Wars sequel trilogy is a source of contention for a lot of fans. Some love it, some hate it, and some are indifferent. Now, me, I want to say I hate it. It's such a harsh word, but I just can't stand it. I know some people that love it, and you know what? That's great. I'm happy that you love it. It's just my opinion. And if you want to debate me about it, that's great. I love having conversations about Star Wars and the Star Wars universe. And there's a couple of things that were okay in the sequels, but overall, I just thought it was terrible. Some people are upset that I hate it so much, but they killed off my lifelong hero, Luke Skywalker, just basically for no reason because he became a semi-force ghost and then was like absorbed into the force and his mechanical hand too. So there's a lot of things I didn't like. There's so many inconsistencies in that sequel trilogy that just drive me insane. But enough of that. And like I said, if you like it, I more power to you. I don't hate you. Everybody has their own opinion. This should be a free space for chatting about Star Wars. So come on, bring your popcorn and let's talk. Anyhow, I saw this article that was posted 2 days ago, and it's from screenrant.com, and I wanted to share it with you. And there's old Luke, or Jed Skywalker, as Mark Hamill said. And the title says, Star Wars is officially retconning the sequel trilogy. It says 6 years after Star Wars' sequel trilogy ended, it is clearer than ever that the franchise is somewhat retconning the three films. As far as the ranking of Star Wars goes, the sequel trilogy is an interesting case study. Some appreciated the sequels and their expansion of Star Wars, while others deemed them the worst in the franchise. Upcoming Star Wars movies will be hoping to forego the divisive nature of the sequels and be more generally well received than the three Disney-era movies were. The wish to avoid the controversy the sequels caused has likely been the reason for Disney's Star Wars TV shows, which have increased in quantity since 2019. Actually, I heard that they pulled back the money for those and are going to be doing less TV shows. The many Star Wars TV shows that have been building up to a story that many wanted to see from the sequel trilogy initially, via this and several other upcoming projects, Disney may actually be retconning the Star Wars sequel trilogy in the best way. Star Wars Disney Plus shows have been slowly retconning the sequel era. Most of the Disney Plus shows released by Lucasfilm have been set in the Star Wars New Republic era. These shows are nestled between Return of the Jedi and Star Wars The Force Awakens in the franchise's storyline, telling stories about the aftermath of the Galactic Civil War. The sequels, being set 30 years beyond Episode 9, did not do this. Instead, the Star Wars sequel focused on the Empire's replacement, the First Order, with a structure similar to the original trilogy, as opposed to building off of what Lucas's original three films did. This is what many Star Wars Disney Plus shows ended up exploring, acting as a slow retcon of the sequel era in many ways. The term retcon often gets misconstrued with audiences assuming it means removing something from canon. Instead, it simply means retroactively changing canon, either by adding context to stories, adding completely new ones, or changing pre-existing ones completely. Well, they need to remove it. In this case, Star Wars has done the second and retconned the sequel trilogy by adding massive stories to the timeline set before it, yet after the original movies. Shows like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and the Book of Boba Fett have combined and will continue to do so to tell a climactic story in the New Republic era, one that was not referenced at all in the sequel trilogy. In this sense, an entire story on the scale of the movie trilogy is being retroactively added into Star Wars, which was evidently not planned during the production of the sequels. New Star Wars movies will continue telling stories set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. To further prove that Star Wars is retconning the sequel trilogy by adding a major storytelling event before it, the franchise is returning to theaters. 2026 will see the release of The Mandalorian and Grogu, a feature film spinning off from the story of The Mandalorian. The film will see the two titular characters facing off against Imperial remnants in the New Republic era. It is expected that the story of this movie will tie into the story of Ahsoka, another New Republic project, which saw Grand Admiral Thrawn return to the galaxy in an attempt to reinstate the Empire's rule. Dave Filoni, the creator of Ahsoka, is said to be directing the Star Wars movie that will conclude with the separate stories in an Avengers-style movie. Above anything, this proves that Star Wars is retconning the sequels by focusing intently on a huge story The Force Awakens never referenced. Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie can be the Episode 7 many wanted to see. Moreover, Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie is shaping up to be Episode 7 that audiences want to see instead of The Force Awakens. The first sequel to George Lucas's original trilogy was a book series by author Timothy Zahn. Despite not being considered true canon by Lucas himself, fans of Star Wars at the time hoped that these stories could be adapted into any potential sequels made. The book series, released in the 1990s, has become known as the Heir to the Empire trilogy. The trilogy focuses on Grand Admiral Thrawn as Palpatine's Imperial replacement as he fought against Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, and Han Solo in an effort to reinstate the power of the Empire after Return of the Jedi. Of course, Star Wars: The Force Awakens took the official sequel trilogy in a different direction than this, but Dave Filoni is now retconning it into Star Wars canon. Ahsoka Season 1 ending saw Thrawn return to the Star Wars galaxy after being stranded in a neighboring one in the Star Wars Rebels. Ahsoka Season 2 will continue that story and likely lead directly into Filoni's movie. The aforementioned Avengers-style Star Wars movie is expected to focus entirely on the climatic opposition to Thrawn's mission to reinstate the Empire. As such, this movie is what many initially hoped a Star Wars sequel trilogy would look like. While it may have some differences from Zahn's book, such as smaller roles for the OT characters, Thrawn's resurgence is a sequel trilogy that never was until now. Disney's post-Return of the Jedi retcons are making the sequel trilogy better. Despite all this proving that Disney is retconning the sequel trilogy by adding in an entire Star Wars era that was not mentioned in The Force Awakens, the New Republic era is still managing to improve the actual sequels themselves. Perhaps the biggest criticisms of the sequel trilogy came from the rise of Skywalker, namely the rushed resurrection of Emperor Palpatine. In The Mandalorian Season 3, however, this was revealed to have been in the works decades earlier. The show highlighted a meeting of Imperial remnants, with Project Necromancer being mentioned. Project Necromancer was then referenced in Star Wars: The Bad Batch, set even before the original trilogy, making Palpatine's resurrection something that had been planned rather than a rushed plot point. Disney's New Republic stories are adding elements like this to improve the sequels, all while giving people sequel stories to the original trilogy they wanted to see decades ago. The post-Return of the Jedi adventures that were only dreamed of in the early 90s are being shown in full glory, though not without catering to the fans of the Star Wars sequels, providing the best of both worlds. Because they're doing these TV series, that doesn't mean it's going to make the sequel trilogy make sense. I think this author bumped his head because that just did not compute at all. First of all, I think that the sequel trilogy were thrown together at the last minute because they had to get something out. And now they're trying to say that these movies that are part of the Bad Batch, part of Rebels, these animated movies or shows, these animated shows for Star Wars, and they're making TV series from them that they're supposed to bridge the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens to make it make sense. The only thing that they could push that they're trying to make sense is Project Necromancer about the Emperor. There is nothing else in these shows that really makes sense toward the sequel trilogy. And then they talk about the Avengers style show, which I saw the Avengers, and like I said before, I think that there wasn't enough character development in the movie, and it was really rushed. I liked it. It was okay, but I think if they try to do that, it'll be the same issue where they'll have so many actors that they're trying to give character development too, and it'll just seem really, really forced. Anyway, I just wanted to share this article with you. What are your thoughts on them retconning the sequel trilogies? I just want them to retcon it in the original sense of cutting it out and then just remake it. Remake the 3 movies. Just do it. Whether you like the sequels or you don't, like I said before, you're free to chat here. No judgment, and we can have a nice conversation about it. Anyway, if you haven't seen my last video, you should really check it out. It's right here. It's really good. And if you're liking my content, subscribe and like this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And remember, the Force will be with you always.